Good evening, everybody. All right, we're doing a sound check. Make sure my microphone is working. Can everybody help? All right. All right. Okay. Back in Pittsburgh. Uh, had a very great stay up at the lake. Lots of nice people up there with us. That was a good session this year. Once again, ate too much. And somebody had the audacity to bring a little stuffed raccoon up there as a gift. Brian brought it up. Now it's sitting on the kitchen counter. Jamie, make sure you're not logged in twice. If not, you might have to reboot. Okay. As we can see, not only are we moving sideways in the Dow, but notice how indecisive the trading is up in this area. So doesn't really mean too much. Or what we have is the added benefit of seeing that there's no market direction, and on a daily basis, there was really no conviction to the upside or the downside, which is fine, because as long as we don't have any change of market direction, things just moving slowly in the right direction, it's given us a lot of opportunities to take advantage of the different chart patterns that are working, such as seeing a big fry pan bottom and MDVN. That's kind of not the expectation in one day, but the expectation of coming out of these type of patterns. So let's take a look at some of the commodities. As we can see, there was an evening star signal. Yes. So when we're looking at a pattern, we don't know why people are buying it. We don't have to know why people are buying it. We just know that it's being bought. Look at the evening star signal in crude oil. So if we know what a trend we usually do, which is they usually go through a resistance level, especially in the overbought area, what are they likely to do? They're probably coming back to test that level to see if it's going to act as support. Gold has just been kind of frumpy here, just moving sideways, not really going anywhere. So the gold stocks you should have been out of over the last few days of trading and move on to something else. Everything else is just kind of sideways. Here's soybeans. And this is all kind of reflective of where we are in the year. Usually late August, most people are vacationing, so we're not going to see a whole lot of activity uh, until probably next week when everybody starts coming back to their desks. Trying to think of what else. Oh, the dollar. Dollar, not really tradable. It's in the oversold area trying to show some support, but nothing there yet to show there's been a reversal. Try to think of Oh, I've been short live cattle. I covered it today, and we'll reshort it tomorrow if it opens weaker, because what did it tell us today? It was pretty much that they came up to test the T-line and it failed. If it opens lower, still have the prospect of this trend channel, which you can see where the tops are and where the bottoms are. But down here somewhere is the likely target. And unfortunately, there's not a whole heck of a lot going on in any of the futures markets. Wheat didn't quite get to the overbought area before it showed its sell signal. And that's, I guess, all we can do in that area. All right, some of the ones that are still acting well that we are in. Here's REN. And again, this is a very important factor. When they break out through an obvious resistance level, notice how they had a kind of little doji sandwich breakout. That's where you want to put your money. So there's a difference between seeing a gap up in the overbought condition and a gap up that is just breaking out of a pattern in an overbought condition. Obviously, if we see a doji at the top, we want to be taking profits. If we see a doji, in this case, where they gap through a resistance level, made it very easy the next day. You want to start buying on positive trading. That gap up through the resistance level is a very vital piece of information. And same kind of scenario here in the VRX chart. Best friend gap up kind of into this through this resistance area. Tells us you want to stay long on this one until you see a sell signal. I'm going to just kind of go through some of the ones that are acting well. AMBA has been a nice steady uptrend. Hasn't been able to close below the T line. Trox is another one that's been a nice steady eddy ever since our bullish engulfing signal and then the breach of this little resistance level. So this makes it very simple. So once you get into one of these patterns, all you have to do is stay long until you see a sell signal to close back below the T line. Now here's one that we've got good profits in, also kind of a gap up breakout. But notice what's happening up here. This is why you want to pay very close attention to your what the signals are telling you. We've got 4 or 5 dojis in the overbought condition. If you're long on CC, put your stop below the lows of the last couple of days, because if it comes down through there, that tells you which direction they're taking it. Oops, hold on. All right. SPHS, there's that little scoop pattern. This makes for a perfect setup that if it opens positive tomorrow, you definitely want to be buying immediately on the doji sandwich breakout. And go-go, notice how it's come up, gotten a little bit indecisive, except the kind of the bullish factor is when they pulled it back today, where did they pull it back to? Right smack dab on the T-line. That should be a very clear indication that the T-line is still acting as a support level. Oh, SPHS is down big after hours. All right. Now, Stanton, I went and bought a new, oh, if you've been only listening for the last couple of weeks, that's because we were doing it up from the lake. And then today, lost sound in the chat room. I went over and bought a new headset, which apparently all I had to do was reboot. Working all right. Here's another one that you definitely want to keep an eye on, because if we know the simple expectations of a pattern, there's your fry pan bottom. This is SQ. They gap it up, and that's exactly what you would expect coming out of a fry pan bottom. Now we're kind of in that J-hookish pattern, and very simple rule here. You just stay long as it stays above the T-line. We recommended TWI today on the basis that we could easily see a wave 1, a wave 2, going into wave 3. Still makes it very easy to buy into this one on a positive open tomorrow, because, again, you'd have a doji sandwich breakout into new territory. And Chug, this one had to close back up above the T-line to stay in it, which it just barely did. But, again, a doji right on the T-line, stochastic starting to roll over, makes this extremely simple. We know the simple rule of the doji. It has to open positive and trade positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, close it out immediately. You can always buy it back on a positive open or a positive trading back up above the T-line. Grub was also recommended, but it never confirmed. Still not out of the picture. I'd still be a buyer of this one if it came back up through the high of today, which was the close of yesterday. And Bob, my stochastics are 12.33. Slow stochastics. All right, some of the biggies like Amazon should have been out of this one the last few days with it closing below the T-line. And there's two reasons for that. One, because we know the probabilities are that the bulls have lost control. Things to the downside can occur when it closes below the T-line, number one. Number two, you can see what the trajectory is once it comes back below the T-line. It's kind of fizzled out at this point. Let's see, Apple. It came back up to the T-line, but another very simple analysis. It has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. Netflix, as you can see, ran into this resistance of this. If you could draw a line right through the tops. So this one, more than likely, if they don't take it positive tomorrow, is going to come back and at least test the T-line. And Tesla, still nothing here. Ever since your big bearish engulfing signal confirmation, it's probably coming back to test the T-line. SGI we recommended today, but it didn't execute. That's why you want to see bullish confirmation. Because without that bullish confirmation, I'd rather pay up for it, knowing that it's doing what the signal is telling us it should be doing, versus getting into something too early. So I'd still be a buyer of this one because it did support back on the T-line, but I'm using today's open as my buy stop. When it comes up through there, that tells you the profit taking is over. Okay, this is where we want to kind of observe the obvious. The obvious is that the biotechs are still picking up steam, and there's Labu, the 3 ETF fund. Notice the Bobo type pattern and the J-hook potential with a doji gap up, which means Oops, bib is another one. Another J hook support on the 200. And here's one that David L. pointed out. There's a J hook pattern. I like PBYI. Bought some calls on this one. As you can see the pattern setup. Notice where your morning star signal is, right smack dab in the middle. Today they broke out with a doji sandwich. That tells me that if this was a 20-point move, that we could be looking for the $70 area. I forgot which calls I bought, but they're like the 55s or something. Lori, I think it was the September 55s. And I forgot what I paid for them. Oh, I think I paid it $3.50 for them. So if it goes to 20, the expectation would be that the 55s, I mean, if it goes to 70, the 55s should go up into the $15 to $18 range. So the reason I was pointing these out is when you can start seeing that the whole sector is being bought, there's ALDR, there's, ADXS, another J-hook pattern setup, and notice where it's coming from out of this little fry pan bottom, best friend signal, J-hook type pattern. This one can be bought. Cure, and so the reason I'm pointing these out is look at all the nice looking charts that are setting up in the biotechs. That kind of gives you the immediate realization that the biotechs are being bought pretty much across the board. So the safest place or the best place to get your highest probabilities is in a sector that everybody's buying. Jay, no, I think we did this earlier. ADXS, we're buying the pattern. The other indicators are going, if it's a J-hook pattern on ADXS, that's what we're buying. The stochastics and the MACD will follow that. This one is BMRN, kicker type signal, J-hook pattern. And FPRX, notice where this is bouncing off of. Right smack dab off the 50-day moving average. And that ALNY. Another one bouncing right off the 200. You can buy this one on positive trading. Where do you find out which sector is hot? Same scans, Moneyball, as you would on a stock scan. Instead of all we're doing is scanning to see which sectors are acting the best. So I know on TCNet, all I have to do is go to the, I think it's the Morningstar sectors, and scan the same way. Which ones have had the biggest percent move today? You're usually going to find a good pattern in the sectors as you would in the stock. Then, very simply, you go to the stocks in that sector and see which ones have the best chart. So if you know the market's not changing any major direction, or it's still a slow uptrend, and you've also picked out a sector that's acting strong, and then you go to go to that sector and see which ones of those stocks have the best charts, you're essentially putting all the stars in alignment of being in the right place at the right time. NVIV, big breakout. Notice our flutter kicker signal. Bearish candle, gap up doji. Next day they open positive. The flutter kicker breaks out through this wedge formation. Tell you there's going to be a lot more upside. Did I do FPRX? Oh, yeah, I did FPRX. And PETX. Another J-hook pattern in progress. So there's just knowing that the that sector is picking up some steam across the board, obviously puts you in situations where you're in the right place at the right time. So some others that are looking good, EZPW. There's another fry pan bottom. And notice how the uptrend started on this one, that little trend kicker signal. So now you're in the new territory, which I would suspect you're coming back up. And remember what happens on a trend? If you're in a trend, I can't. Andy bought me this new mouse with a thumb roller, and I can't do anything with it. But if this is a trend, and this is your consolidation, usually right after the consolidation, it'll pop right back up into the trend area. Momo, another J-hook pattern. And notice what you had right here, that belt hold signal. Which one was the other one that had the belt hold signal? There was another one that I was going to put next to it just to show. I'll remember it when I see it. Why looks like it's in the bobble. Why do we suspect it's in a bobble? Because it's failed right smack dab at the 200. Is that the one? I'll get to it in two charts then. Yeah, I think that's right. So I'm getting ready to buy this one back as soon as it comes back up through the 200 because that tells me I have a bobble J-hook breakout. Again, these are just visually analyzing what's going to be a high probability trade setup. OMN, notice all the dojis in the consolidation stage. You can still buy this one on positive trading because of all those dojis, which means there's a lot of indecision. So these are the type of patterns you really want to be looking for. Is when you see where there's a kind of a trend channel and they gap it up, there's your best friend signal. And what's the analysis of this one? All you have to do is stay long until you see a sell signal and or a sell signal above the or below the T line. NPTN, yes, there is our belt hold. I had it on the wrong line. So that belt hold told you they took out a lot of sellers. Your uptrend was still going to be in progress. And MX, again, when they break out through these resistance levels, this is what we're kind of expecting, a 45 degree. So is this another one? Yeah, notice how they gap this one up big time. There's your 45 degree. So I'm illustrating this so that if you can recognize a 45 degree, you might want to either buy the stock because it's probably going to be a good steady eddy and or figuring out how much time you have to expiration to set up an option purchase. Yes, here's keys with the big belt hold. I'd still be a buyer of this one on positive trading because what's that belt hold basically tell you? That they've wiped out all the sellers and the bulls are still in control. What one did I just do? Let's see. And Marvell, there's your J-hook pattern in progress. And found one on the short side. I didn't have time to look at a lot of the shorts, but here's one. This is where you kind of observe the obvious. The obvious is there's a resistance level right here, and the 50 is acting as resistance. So if you can pretty much draw a line down through the tops and pretty much draw a parallel line right down through the bottoms, that becomes your next target. So you can calculate what your rate of return would be and what your probabilities are. Here we have a bearish harami right smack dab on the 50, followed by a gap down with stochastics in the oversold area. This is all the probabilities that you're heading back down to test this level, probably a little bit below 9, giving you about a 30% upside potential on a short trade. So I put this in your portfolio because even with the market looking like it's not going anywhere, it's always good to have a few shorts just as protection. Yeah, this thumb thing just drives me to drink. Don't have as much control with it as I had with the other one. Okay, so with that, are there any general questions on candlesticks? What do I expect from EZPW? To probably come up to the top of the trend channel, somewhere up in this range. I hate that thing. So if I could draw a line right through the tops, kind of becomes my target, which looks like about a 30% upside. Okay, no general questions. When a stock fills a gap, does it go from close to where it opens, or does it include wicks? It includes the wicks. It just needs to have trading going back uh, yeah, all you're doing is seeing the trading fill that gap. Does the belt hold need gap down? I don't understand that question. Yeah, the gap down is usually, yes, usually it's a gap down way away. If you can see, this is the trading range right in here, and they gapped it way down here. Yes, that is a big gap down, but it always comes back up. Or when it does come back up, that's your belt hold. They've wiped out all the sellers. With a belt hold pattern, could it be because the market ran all the resting stop orders? Is such no, usually it's some sort of announcement that scares everybody out, and then once they've scared out all the weak links, then the bulls start stepping back in. So if they were running the stops, it would have opened here and traded down here and then come back up again. They gapped it all the way down here. Have you tired? I'm sure you were, Captain Paul, you were trying to say, have you tried the 3-day, 2-hour candle? No, but whatever your time frame that you want to be trading, remember, if you just use the basic philosophy that candlestick signals are the accumulative knowledge of everybody buying and selling during a specific time frame, doesn't mean if it's, or it doesn't matter whether it's a 1 minute, a 2-hour, 3-day, whatever you're looking at, depending on your time frame you're trading, it's still all going to represent the same thing. So if you find something that is working extremely well based upon a combination of different time factors, that's what this is all about, is taking advantage of that information. How long does a belt hold push the price up? That's hard to say, Jay, until you see a sell signal. What would you say a pattern for UNG where they gap down Friday, then gap again today to the moving average? Is the 2 short gaps in 2 days, but in opposite direction? That usually means if there was a kicker signal setting up, then the next day they take it the opposite direction. If you had shorted it, then you get right out immediately. What it really means right now is they don't know which way they want to go. So you can see you're in a trend channel, and so the next likely target is up here, but first you need to see it break through the 50-day moving average. Announced today after hours implies a 25% on SPHS. Oh, if it's opened up way down here someplace, You got to remember, if they announced earnings, yeah, I would wait for it to open up and then see what they do with it. Where does a belt hold need to close back up? Usually in or fairly close to the trading range. Notice when it came back up, it didn't do any signal. It just came back up into the trading range. Now, if it come up to the previous day's candle and closed halfway up, now would be a huge belt hold or a piercing signal belt hold. If it closed above the previous day's uh, candle, it would then be a belt hold bullish engulfing signal. Oh, SPHS is a secondary offering. All right, that usually is a knee-jerk reaction, and more often than not, in a few days, they bring it right back up to the current trading range. Okay, with that, Jim, go ahead and do the double line, and in 4.1 seconds, do the second double line. All right, we're still in kind of a boring market, and that's just basically due to the time of year. So if you're not making a whole lot of money, don't get discouraged. What really happens is that that once we see what they're doing, once they come back to their desks, we see immediately which direction they're going to take the market. CMRX, I would just stay long as they are back up above the T line. And TTNP, another nice fry pan bottom with a T-line crunch. I would stay long on this one. FEYE, another scoop type. I wouldn't do too much with this just yet. I'd want to see more confirmation. If you are buying this one, I'd be buying it on positive trading tomorrow. But obviously, you have to see what it does once it gets to the 50-day moving average. Jack Henry, nothing real excruciatingly exciting. If you're long, you stay long. I just wouldn't be a buyer of this one. Just not a real dynamic looking chart. Cuervo, same scenario here. This one needs to get back up above the 50 to show more confirmation. And Camp. Camp, nothing there to get excited about. You can see that it did a little indecisive gap up off the 50. Just nothing there to get real excited about. I'd probably be trading someplace else. Kara, same scenario. Just no direction to it. Let me see if I make it bigger. There's any better direction. No, can't see anything there. IMS, that's a good looking chart. I would be a buyer of this one. There's kind of your morning star signal. If it opens positive, it's breaking this downward trend channel. I'd be a buyer at that point. ROVI. This one I'd be more apt to buy on the basis that you're probably going to see it in a 45 degree from here. XIV, all you can do here is stay long. You can see there's a resistance level. I would definitely use the T-line as my stop. I wouldn't want to see it close back below that level. If it did, pretty much told you that they ran out of steam right here at this level. CIV, right now it's in the downward direction. Doesn't have enough movement to really go short, but I definitely would not be long on this one. Ah, Where, okay, PMTS. This one looks more like a fry pan bottom setup. I'd still be a buyer if it came up through this level. Still not real exciting, but yeah, probably wouldn't be one of my first choices. This one looks like it's broken the downward wedge. You can buy this one on positive trading. Notice the bullish harami right smack dab on the 50, and then the breaking of this little trend area, then this trend area. That pretty much tells me they're heading into new territory. CLR, all you can do is stay long. You definitely need to see this one open positive tomorrow. XL, we already did. That's a nice J-hook pattern. Let's see. JC Penney, you should be out of this one. With it closing back below the T line on this day, especially when you saw the doji in the overbought condition that far away from the T line, and they opened it lower and especially traded it back below the low of that doji, that was the time to take profits because you knew we were heading in this direction. If you were shorting it, stay short now until you see a buy signal. Guru, same scenario. When it started trading back below the T line, that was kind of your little left-right combo. That told you it had to open positive and trade positive to stay above the T line, which it didn't do. The Victor Group, nothing there if I'm hitting the right one. That one, there's nothing there. CRX, that one I'd be more apt to go short with the anticipation is coming back down to test the bottom of the channel. Hecla, you should have been out on Friday with it closing back below the T line, especially with the doji gap down. So if you were short on this one right now, I'd anticipate there's a possibility of coming back down to the 200-day moving average. Willow, this one you can stay long. Notice they haven't been able to close it below the T line, a little J-hook pattern in progress. I wouldn't be buying AVGO. I mean, you can buy it if you want to. It's just, number one, not a big percent mover. Number two, there's no advantage to be buying up here. Weibo, we still own this one. It's never been able to close below the T line. I should probably be bringing this one up more because it's nice steady eddy. Zillow, if you're out of it, if you were short, you should have covered it on Friday with the bullish signal. You can always re-short it if it comes down through Friday's open. Right now, I wouldn't be going long until they definitely can show they got up above the T-line area. Urban Outfitters, the big gap up out of the resistance level tells you stay long as you stay in that 45 degree. Goog should be out of this one when it starts trading below the T-line. You can be going short on any weakness on this one. Tesla, we did. Nothing here. Wouldn't be long or short. And ZTS, that's a kicker type signal. I'd be ready to go short on this one. Yeah, not a very big price move, but probably the next logical target is right here at the 50-day moving average. Tesoro, this one you can be buying on positive trading. Good possibility it's now starting the next wave to the upside. Montana, Another one you can be buying, not real exciting, but you do have the J-hook pattern, so your next targets could be the tops up here. Could give you a decent percentage move. IRIA, another one where all you can do is stay long as it doesn't close below the T line. And EQT, this one you can be buying. Just watch to see what it does once it gets to the 50. The SPY, just like the markets, it's so sideways. I wouldn't be trading it right now. And Eagle bulk shipping. See if I can make this. Nothing here to get excited about. If you do buy it, just watch to see what it does at the 50. You can see that's kind of acting as a resistance area. Marathon, that kicker type signal, with it being that far away from the T line, would have probably had me out today. If you stayed long, it has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. BABA has to open positive, bouncing off the T line. Facebook probably wouldn't be long or short. There's just no direction right now. I'd be someplace else. Yield, kind of the same scenario, just not a real great trader. You're not going to make a whole lot of money with this, even if it does move. I'd be someplace else. And Blackstone, all you can do right now is stay long as it stays above the T line. PTX. Make this a little bit bigger. Nothing wildly dynamic on this one either. Stay long, but you definitely need to see it break out through this area in the next couple of days and make sure your volume is big on this one. Chesapeake, just stay long. And AMGN, you can stay long. Wouldn't be long on this one right now. I'd be more apt to buy it at 177.50, breaking out into new territory. Hormel, this one you can be buying, especially with that kind of bullish doji sandwich coming right off the 50 and breaking through this resistance level. At this point, I'd be a buyer on positive trading. I just used today's low as my stop. We did Amazon. Amazon's drifting lower, probably nothing here. I wouldn't be long or short this one right now. Land's End. Nice fry pan bottom. You stay long on this one. You can still be buying this one on positive trading on this breakout. OCUL. Get ready for the bobble type pattern. I would have been out of it, but I'd be ready to get back in it. I'd probably use today's high as my stop. And Nerve, stay long on this one. Has a little scoop type fry pan bottom in progress. Edwards Life Sciences, another one that's not very exciting. You're probably in a very slow uptrend. If you like it, you just stay with it as long as it stays above the T line. Novo, I don't know what to tell you on that one. That's not, I'd be someplace else. And MCRB is hovering right on the T line. It has to open positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, close it out. Tells you the T line did act as resistance. Monster Worldwide, in the bobble. I would probably, if I owned it, I would probably have closed it out today with it opening lower and get ready to buy it back when it comes back up through the 200-day moving average. The oil fund backing off, suspect would come back to the T-line /50 area. Means another day of selling. Whiting also Probably has another couple of days of selling going on. If you were trading this one on the long side, I would have been out of it today. Let's see. All right, we got to. CYCC, just stay long. Another one I would use today's low as my stop. It shouldn't come back through there. You just stay in this steady uptrend as long as it stays above the T line. No real sell signals here. And Tazar should have been out of it today. If you weren't out of it Friday, you can always buy this one back if and when it comes back up above the T line. Booz Allen Hamilton. You can start buying this one. Is this more like a REIT? You can start buying this one on positive trading. It won't give you a big return, but it'll give you a positive return. WR Grace. This one's not a very exciting stock either. It's pretty much caught sideways. Probably wouldn't pay attention to it until it does get up through average. And CMP, you can stay long on this one if you like it. Just be aware that you're getting into the moving average. Definitely want to see it get through that level. And Ballard, another one that has to open positive if you're long. If it opens lower, close it out. It just won't have any direction to it. VRX came back up nicely. We still own the calls on this one. You're coming out of a big fry pan bottom. And you've had a nice breakout. Got an island reversal down here. I would stay long. We're long the calls on this one because this one could get you back up testing this area pretty quick. That would give you a good return. DuPont, nothing here. You see your resistance level. You see the sell signals. Whoops. I must have had it in the wrong spot. Let me change that. You can be buying this one. It's still not going to be a very exciting stock, but as long as it stays above the T line, you're all right with it. Whoops. LYV, another one that I'd rather pay $27.40 for it, knowing that it broke to the upside. Just nothing here. Didn't really confirm the Morningstar signal a few days ago. I wouldn't be long or short this one right now. Just nothing there to show any pattern. CZZ, another one that I would buy on strength, meaning up through Friday's close or Friday's high. So I would be buying this one on a positive trade tomorrow, breaking out into new territory. Carb, nothing exciting on this one. I would rather pay $13.70 for it, knowing it broke to the upside. And CLSN, nice fry pan bottom. Just make sure your volume is up in the millions or at least a million on that price stock. SSO, nothing here either. Wouldn't be long or short. Western needs to show a little bit more strength. It came from the bottom of the channel. You can stay long, but at this point, it better open positive tomorrow to stay in it. If it opens lower, you just don't have any real trajectory or any strength in this one. When you see something like you like after hours, do you use a buy order or buy stop up a few cents? Jay, no, I don't do anything after hours. The only time the after hours indications really mean anything is about 2 minutes before the open. That's where all the big boys have decided where they're going to be buying or selling. A lot of times they can whip stocks around. After hours, so a few thousand shares can whip it way up and way down. CX, no, I wouldn't short this one. just yet. I'd rather, if I was going to short it, it would be below Friday's low. Watt, you can be buying this one. You're just not going to get a whole big percentage return out of it. And Sears Holding, yes, this one you can short on weakness tomorrow, but just be aware that the 50 is probably your target. And Neo, nothing real exciting on this one, other than you probably are back into the trend channel. So you expect it to move back up toward the top of the channel, but it may take it 2 or 3, 4 weeks to get there for about a 10% return. I'd rather find something where my potential of a 10% return is going to happen over the next 2 days versus over the next 4 weeks. What did I do there? NKTR. This one you get ready to buy on positive trading with the anticipation at least your first move is going to be up to the top of the channel here. Is Goog not a 45 degree? No, not necessarily a 45 degree. I mean, there's your kind of your 45 degree. This is just rolling over. So I would suspect that if they start selling it off, they're coming back to fill this gap, which also means they're probably heading back to the 50. I think we did Rovi. Look for a 45 degree to come off of here. FPRX, probably a J-hook pattern. Is that PGA or PAG? PAG. This one has to open positive to stay in it. If it opens lower, I'd close it out. It'd be bringing you back below the T-line area. And Geo, these I don't know what to tell you here. You could be buying this one with the anticipation that you're going to get a bounce back up to the T-line, but it's a very, you don't have the probabilities going where you don't know which way they're going to take it. So I wouldn't be trading it. And Square, you stay long on this as long as it stays above the T-line. Dunkin' Donuts. Dunkin' Donuts, if you like it, you stay long. It looks like it's broken out through this, at least this level. But you're in the overbought area, so you just have to be careful that you're not up near the top end of the range at this point. Yeah, you better see some strength on the breakout. Two, nothing here yet. It had the potential of breaking out, and it failed. That means you're still in the sideways. And G-Pro, it has to open positive also tomorrow. If it opens lower, they're probably bringing it back down to the 200. ETE, all you can do here is stay long with it staying above the T-line. Clovis has a good-looking chart. Again, one of the biotechs. I'd still be a buyer of this one with the anticipation that the first target is up here toward the downtrending 200-day moving average, and you're coming out of a fry pan bottom. So I'd stay long with this one. COF didn't do too much today. If you were short, I'd be ready to cover the short on positive trading. I wouldn't be a buyer until you see the close above the T-line. Oh, I watch Perry, or I don't watch. Sandy watches Perry Mason after hours. If you're reviewing your portfolio after hours and you see something you like for the next day, you use a buy stop, a buy or buy stop, maybe up a few cents. If I'm not going to be there, yes, I'd put a buy stop above the level. If I'm going to be here, I want to see how they open it and what they do after that they open it. Rock, nothing wildly exciting about this one other than as long as you're back up above the T line, you can start buying it again, but your upside potential is just going to be a slow drift to the upside. Schnitzer, nothing exciting here yet either. Still need bullish confirmation breaking you through this downtrend. Well, you're not. If you're trading the fact that you think this is the resistance level, that would mean even if it hit that resistance level from here, you're still up. What do you say, 10%? But at least you know after a belt hold, there's usually a strong move. So all you do is once it gets to this level, you see what happens when it gets there. Bill Barrett, nothing great yet. If you're long, you stay long, but another case where it has to open positive tomorrow. And SGY did not execute today with it opening lower. Now, you still can use yesterday or Friday's close as your stop. If it comes back up through there, you can be buying it. Chesapeake has to stay above the T line, which it's doing. And Bison, another one where all you have to do is stay long as it doesn't close below the T line. Ron, I'll usually trade at the open, which means once I see something open, I'll give it a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. If I think something should be trading positive and the market opens up and starts heading down and I see the stock that I'm looking at is opening higher but not moving, I'll just wait to see what happens if the market bottoms out and starts back up again. Let's see, we did trip. Gaps had a good chart. Another one you can buy on positive trading, the Doji Sandwich Breakout. GDX is just sideways or coming back here to test the 50. I probably wouldn't be short, but I definitely would not be long. Yeah, I would just, I would be, watching to see what it does if it hits the 50. Now, I bought the September, when you see the 16 next to it, that's September 2016. I bought, I think, the 55 calls, maybe the 56. I can't remember. And I've got calls in square because of the fry pan bottom breakout, that if this could pop pretty quick up here to fill the gap, which would move, I think, I forget what I paid for them, 35 cents on the, can't remember, but it would give you a good move. So things like this is why the options room is kind of valuable, because Nora, forget which one she bought, the 70s, September 70s for 45 cents. So you can see where they went to, $11 or so. So you get, I think they said it was a 2,230% return. And this logic says if you compound that a few times, you can make some pretty good money. So, all right, market's not in any great stage of going up or going down, which is not unusual for late August. So don't get discouraged. Stay with the sector. Right now, the biotechs are acting strong. Everything else is just moving sideways. Just kind of keep some powder dry, because in the next 10 trading days, you're going to see everybody coming back to their desk, which way they're planning to take things. So with that, everybody have a good evening. We will see you bright and early tomorrow in the chat rooms. We'll see you then.